I know it's been a while since the last time. I've really been thinking about what I've seen so far in the cartridge. It's hard to explain. On one hand, curiosity kills me to see what's hidden in the next world of the game, and on the other hand I have the feeling that I might put myself at risk if I keep playing. I have been with this internal debate for a while and I always end up looking for any excuse not to play the game, but that ends today. Today I am sick, so I have not gone to work. I cannot leave my house because of the storm, so I have no more excuses. I decided to satisfy my curious and reckless side and dive for the third time in this game. I really don't know what to expect, but I'm prepared to turn off the TV or unplug the console in case everything goes to shit. We've all seen how far this game can go. With all that said, it's time to enter World 3, which is called Crona. The music of this world reminds me of a castle or something. It's a very sophisticated theme and, again, too detailed to be from a NES game. The board is mainly purple, but part of it is the same color as Glacier. The levels this time are Mirror Maze, Black and White, Electric Plant, Ice Tunnel, Temple of Silence, and the last one has the glitched name. I'll call it Base again. Why, of all the levels in Glacier, does the temple reappear? I know that in the original game the same levels were reused over and over again, but this seems deliberate. Also, it's weird that, what I suppose is the exit, is 4 spaces away. There is not even a boss to block the path, although I prefer to explore all the levels. Oh, if you're wondering what the 2 spaces in the bottom corner are, I couldn't move the cursor there. I guess it's another glitch. Anyway, I guess we just have to keep moving to see what the levels are like. Mirror Maze is what the name implies. The level's music is a very distorted version of the board theme. The mirrors work the same way as the crystals in Desolate Area, touching them takes you somewhere else. This level has 3 types of enemies. The first one appears here. It seems to be made of broken glass, so they do damage on contact. It is not appreciated here, but these things move through the mirrors without warning, so you have to be very careful. Here are the remaining enemies. The creature I'm shooting at is jumping from block to block, scratching you quickly if it's near you, so I try to keep them at bay. The other one with bat wings just flies around ignoring everything around it. Those are more of an obstacle than anything else. After a while I managed to find the sub-boss guarding, possibly, the exit of the level. The guy kept jumping side to side while dodging my attacks, so I took advantage of a moment when he got behind me to enter the mirror. I guess I have to release him. Unlockable monsters? Now that's something I didn't expect. I've never seen or heard of this King Caesar before. I guess he's an ally of Godzilla in a movie or something. Anyway, glad to have more than one monster. I decided to try King Caesar at Black and White, and upon entering it said I have to seize a king. Okay, it's a chess level. It looks like everything is covered by a layer of fog, which makes it hard for me to distinguish between the blocks that are platforms and the ones that are part of the background. The music reminds me quite a bit of one you hear at the beginning of The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. It gives me the feeling that I'm besieging a castle. I quite like King Caesar. He's like a faster Godzilla with a laser beam that he can shoot in 3 directions. It's really cool to be able to move fast in a level like this, which is quite large. At first I was attacking any piece that came near me, but I found that they are quite a bit more motivated to attack those of the opposite color. Most of the pieces are limited to attacking melee except for the queen, who flies around, and the towers that shoot when they see an enemy. Oh, shit. I thought there was a floor there. Apparently it was a good idea to fall there, as it looks like I've entered a castle. This screenshot shows the impending battle between the two sides, while my idea is to try to jump them without accidentally getting shot by the rook. If there are so many pieces here together, a king has to be nearby. Aha! There's one.
We have to act fast. They may come at any moment.
Well, I wouldn't expect a giant rock dog to appear in the middle of a chess battle either.
Let's have a peaceful talk between kings, please. There must be another way to solve this.
Before I could say anything, a white knight attacked him from behind. After that, the screen faded to black and displayed this message. Good for the white team, I guess. I find weird that the Black King referring to King Caesar as a king. I know it sounds stupid, but is King Caesar king of anything? I guess he is in some movie he appears in. Electric Plant is a rather strange feeling level. The detailed, gray-toned floor and fences contrast with the purple background, which is only decorated with what I think are lightning rods. The music in the level reminds me of Sunrise, but somewhat more subdued and with thunder in the background. Despite this, this level is the closest thing to a level from the original game so far. You don't have to explore a labyrinthine level or anything like that, just move forward and destroy whatever you find. Just like Mirror Maze, this level has 3 types of enemies. This blue robot advances slowly while shaking its arms to defend itself. And then there are these 2, which shoot at you from some distance, one from the front and one from above. They don't do much damage, but the ones that fly over you are difficult to hit because they move very fast. Another weird thing about the level is that as you advance, the screen lights up and the thunder increasingly overshadows the music. Eventually, enemies stopped appearing and only thunder could be heard in the background. I was on the lookout for something to appear on screen until this happened. Wow, that was fast. I really don't believe I have a screenshot of this moment. I swear I didn't have the reflexes to take it. After this, the level ended. I could have sworn this was the screenshot I ended up taking at the time. Anyways, I decided to follow King Caesar to the temple, as his speed will come in handy if the level goes like the last time. That's what I thought until the game wouldn't let me move him to the temple. Just perfect. I forgot to go through Ice Tunnel anyway, so I'll go there with Redthorn. Despite being a new level, Ice Tunnel reuses several elements of Frozen Cavern. In fact, I swear it uses the same theme. I think I'm seeing the level from outside the tunnel, I'm not sure either. Perspective problems aside, at first the only thing that appeared as I advanced were these holes in the tunnel, until that pair of eyes that seemed to follow me. Maybe if I try to attack it will go away. Nope. That thing started biting Redthorn. With a couple of bites it took almost 3 bars from me. Fortunately, by backing up a bit I got out of its reach, so it went back into hiding, to shortly after watch me from another hole. I get it now, the level consists of waiting for the tunnel beast not to peek out of one of the holes in the path. I tried using the homing beam to damage it, but it didn't quite find it. I'm not going to risk it biting me again, so I'll have to wait for it to look the other way and be very careful not to slip into a dangerous area. After a while I reached this area with no holes in the walls, where I encountered what I guess is a statue, since it doesn't move. Trying to hit it I pushed it forward. I don't know what good this would do, so I let it be. Are you kidding me? There's no hole nearby to peek out of. Wait a minute, I think I've got an idea. Please tell me this works. Yes. The beast began to bite the statue while growling. Now that it was busy with its new toy, I advanced to the end of the level. Before entering the temple itself, this appeared on the screen.
You are about to enter a sacred place forgotten by everyone outside of it. The blasphemy of your last visit is still remembered, but everything is open for a second chance. Proceed with caution, the guardians of this temple are watching you.
You know, a message like that would have been nice for the first time I walked into one of these. I was quite nervous starting the level, especially since the statues were following Rethorn with their eyes, but in theory I just had to keep the noise to a minimum and move forward. As I moved through the halls in silence, I noticed that on the interface now the name of the Triceratops went from being a bunch of graphic glitches to Rethorn. I'm not lying when I felt a shudder at the thought of the implications of this. The name came to me as I wrote the previous post. If I hadn't given it a nickname, would it still have its previous name? What if this is the first of many moments of the game reading my mind? I kept thinking about it until something brought my attention back to the level itself. From the right of the screen a hand left a life capsule. As I tried to move forward to see what or who did it, I touched the capsule, and with that, ended the level. I guess only the base remains. As in Glacier, the level was a corrupted version of another. It also has the same music. Instead of avoiding graphical glitches that fall from the interface as I advance to the right, now a tide of glitches emerges from the bottom of the screen as I jump from one side to the other. Great, just what I wanted, platforming. I have to go fast, the tide rises quickly. How far up do I have to go? Everywhere I go there are only more platforms. I hope there's no mud. Oh.
It's time for you to finish what you started.
What do you mean? And after that, the level ended. And instead of going back to the board this came out. Is this the name of the next world? This time there hasn't even been a boss. Oh. So this is what he meant. Alright, let's end this. When I entered the level there was no Godzillasaurus. I tried to move Rethorn to see if there was something off screen, but it didn't move. Then I started to hear something, a bunch of explosions, closer and closer, until their origin appeared on screen. There is something about this thing that made me uncomfortable. More than feeling terrified at its presence, I felt as if I had let a loved one down. I know it sounds absurd, but that's what that thing made me feel from the beginning, a deep disappointment. Because of this, without being quite sure of what I was doing, I said out loud, "What are you trying to do?"
Everything is your fault. Everything is falling apart and you just go on. The clock is ticking down. It ends here and now.
The music of the final battle of Earth had returned as Godzilla appeared for the first time in my game. I tried to tell him more, but he either stopped being able to hear me, or he just didn't want to answer me. At first I tried to keep Godzilla at bay by throwing projectiles. I really don't want to get an atomic breath in the face. This strategy didn't last long, as although I was slightly pushed back by each projectile, I soon after discovered that my power bar was still limited. One of the most frustrating things about this battle is that, at times and out of nowhere, I would switch to controlling Godzilla for a moment. Here you can see how I got a tail whip in myself. After several hits, that thing pulled a new trick, absorbing my homing beam with its hand. I think that helped him to accumulate power, because after this Godzilla got into the position he does before casting the atomic breath, while he was stretching and tearing apart. Wow. That's definitely not the atomic breath. After this, the game's dubious stability plummeted, the background distorted, the music slowed and corrupted, and Rethorn glitched again. The only good thing was that all the explosions detached itself from Godzilla and descended until it was no longer audible. Oh god. I hadn't noticed the bomb dropping in the background. As particles of atomic breath appeared rippling across the screen, as if the battle wasn't chaotic enough, a pair of yellowish, corrupted silhouettes jumped into the field.
Now. You appear now.
The silhouettes seemed to attack both of us quickly but did not seem to touch us. A little later another pair entered the battle, though without doing much. At this point I could barely move. Rethorn and Godzilla seemed busier hitting the silhouettes. The music was unrecognizable, all the sprites were flickering and warping. I'm not lying when I say I could better understand what happened at the end of the fight from the few screenshots I took. It was the ideal time to have given up on the game and turned it off for good. And so I should have, because, as soon as the bomb hit the ground, everything went to hell. A screeching sound came out of the TV speakers, almost like a scream. It was a sound so powerful that only that could have left me deaf, but the worst was the screen. I don't even know how I ended up taking this screenshot in the middle of the disaster, but to give you an idea of what I saw, imagine the two colors of the background changing absurdly fast and shifting the brightest colors with the darkest ones constantly. It was overwhelming to the senses. Fortunately, as soon as I caught a glimpse of this, I turned off the console and even unplugged the TV. My heart was racing, I could barely hear my own breathing and my head was spinning. Fortunately, after about 20 minutes I was able to recover, although my hands were still shaking. I tried to search as accurately as possible for the symptoms I experienced, to see what I could do, but found no accurate results. After several medical check-ups, I can say that I am fine. And now I find myself writing this, I don't know what to say anymore, so I'm going to close this by saying that no, I'm not going to play this thing anymore. This has been a mistake.